Hello everybody and welcome, I am Bricker Boom, and today we're going to wrap up the first generation of fossil Pokemon. And out of the three, this is my favorite, or rather, the final form of it is. Kabuto is a lot like Ammonite with low speed, low HP stat, but a decent attack and a pretty good defense stat. We have a decent access to moves, but the low speed and HP are going to be a constant pain for us. Just as a quick look at the rules for challenges like this, I can't use items in battle, but in between battles is fine. I can catch other Pokemon for HM use, and lastly, I do use rare candy codes to cut down on the amount of grinding these runs can typically take, but I do try every battle multiple times before resorting to these because RNG can be a silly little monster. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and start the run and grab our starter. Once again, making sure that the rival has Bulbasaur, likely the hardest for us to face. With this run, the good news is we're not starting with Constrict, which already is a win in comparison to the last run. We can take down the rival without too much issues since we resist Tackle, and from there, the game begins. We complete the beginning game stuff as usual, and we make our way through Viridian Forest to gain some levels before we double back to do the optional rival battle. Without Constrict, it's a lot easier, and we're not losing against random bug catchers 20,000 times, but it still does take a good chunk of time before we get through. Now, I do want to say, if you hear some booming in the background, it is, just as a peek behind the veil, July 4th weekend, and a lot of people are lighting off fireworks. So, let's go ahead and keep on keeping on. With the optional rival fight, they send out Pidgey first, and we don't have much options, but to begin scratching away at both of his Pokemon, we do get sand attacked, but since we resist the attacks from both Pokemon, we can just kind of brute force our way through it. By the time we make it back to Pewter and to Brock, we've hit level 13, and we have access to Absorb. Now, I just want to say here and now, Absorb is an absolutely horrid move. However, even with that being the case, 2 Absorbs take down Geodude and leave us with full health to fight Onix. We hit Absorb, Onix misses Rock Tomb, and then we take it down with a second. I truthfully don't think that Absorb is going to last very long in our moveset, but we'll see what happens. Now, we're able to go ahead and make our way through Mount Moon. Along the way, we do pick up a fossil. I'll let you guess which one. And we get to Cerulean City. We go ahead and we go fight Misty, who first sends out Staryu, and we open up with Scratch, and Water Pulse is doing a lot of damage. We do manage to take Staryu out, but with very little health, and that allows Starmie to immediately knock us out. Now, I could take you through the rival fight, but guess what? Vine Whip absolutely wrecks us given the 4x weakness. I'm not used to having to level up this far just to get past the second gym, even with some of the other Pokemon we played with, but at level 30, we do manage to take Staryu out pretty quickly. With Starmie, it's a bit of back and forth between us actually having to use Absorb and Starmie using Water Pulse, but we do win the War of Attrition and eventually take it down to win the battle and the gym badge. With the rival, it still takes a few tries, but we do take down Pidgeotto. When Bulbasaur comes out, we very thankfully land a critical hit to take it out in one shot. Without that critical hit, we would not have taken it out, and Bulbasaur has been using Sleep Powder a lot. As Abra comes out, it goes down to a Water Pulse, and thankfully so does Rattata. From there, we can make our way through the bridge and through the ship. We do take the opportunity to level up some along the ship since we have been struggling a bit more than I thought we would. So far, Ammonite outperforms Kabuto in just about every single way, but Kabuto may be able to make up for it in the back half of the game due to the fact that we get access to a couple different moves. With the rival battle on the ship, we take out Pidgeotto with a single Water Pulse, and with Ivysaur, we get put to sleep time and time again. Finally, though, even though we're asleep, we avoid a Leech Seed, wake up, and take it out before we get punished too much, and that allows us to take out Ivysaur. Kadabra then goes down to a single Water Pulse, and so does Raticate. With that, we can finish up the ship. The smoke from the ship reminds you to subscribe to the channel, even though you can't see it unless you squint your eyes, and then we go ahead and go fight Surge. With Surge, we're able to take out Voltorb in one shot, and that's due to Water Pulse being a pretty decent move. Next up is Pikachu, and we also take it out in one shot. With Raichu, we take it to about half and get paralyzed. Raichu double teams, but thankfully we're able to break through paralysis and the double team with another Water Pulse to take it down and get the badge. After we get through the cave, we're able to go ahead and head to Celadon and get some much-needed upgrades to our moveset. First, we pick up Aerial Ace to be able to take out those pesky grass types that are gonna forever haunt us. We also stack up Ice Beam to have a second option with grass types, but also to be able to take out Lance when it comes to that point. Hitting up the game corner and making our way through, we opt to go ahead and fight Giovanni now. Onyx goes down to a single Water Pulse, and when Kangaskhan comes out, we do a little bit with Ice Beam and a little more with Water Pulse. Thankfully, Mega Punch doesn't do much, and we confuse it with Water Pulse, so it takes itself out. Then, with Rhyhorn, we take it out with a single Water Pulse, and with that out of the way, we skedaddle on back to the tower, and it's time to see how we fare against the rival with an updated moveset. With Pidgeotto, we return it to Refrigioto by hitting it with Ice Beam and also taking it down in one shot. Bonus points if anyone knows what that pun is from. 3, 2, 1. It's from the Pokemon Christmas Bash CD. With Ivysaur, we make sure to go ahead and take it down as well. Gyarados is taken to a little above half and hits us with a few weak bites before we take it down with the final Ice Beam. Kadabra pops out and we take it down with one shot, and then finally is Growlithe, who we take down with a Water Pulse to win the battle. Completing the tower and making our way to Erica honestly isn't that difficult, and with Aerial Ace on our side, we take out Tangela easy, and Vileplume is a one-shot as well. With Aerial Ace and Ice Beam on our side, it honestly makes it a very easy sweep, and we can immediately head to Fuchsia City and get a little more side stuff out of the way before we make our way to the gym. With Koga, Coughing is up first, and we open up with a critical hit from Ice Beam to take it out in one shot. Next up is Muck, and we use Water Pulse for very little damage. It uses Minimize, and we start by missing before we switch to Aerial Ace, but unfortunately along the way, we get Toxic, and that damage racks up quick. We do end up making it all the way to Wheezing, but due to the Toxic damage being so much, we end up going down. It does take a few attempts, but we start with replacing Water Pulse with Surf. While there's no confusion chance, Surf is a good deal stronger. So with that, we go ahead and try again, and with that, Coughing goes down pretty quick. Muck goes to Yellow, and we actually do manage to take it out with some Surfs. Coughing is also another one-hit, and since we're not poisoned when Wheezing comes out this time, we fare a much better chance. With Wheezing, we take it to Yellow, get Smokescreen, but thankfully hit it again to take it out and win the battle. I remember Ammonite had a lot more difficulties here, but thankfully that's not the case today. After that, we thankfully have a couple options and can go to Cinnabar if things get too rough, but first, let's see how we do against the rival in Silphco. First up is Pidgeot, and we use Ice Beam to take it to red and get hit with a soft wing attack. Venusaur is next, and we take it to half with Ice Beam, then immediately go down. Okay. The next attempt, though, that basically starts the same, except this time, we freeze Venusaur and take it out with too much issue. Gyarados does a lot of damage with stacked up Dragon Rages since they do 40 each turn, but we do eventually take it out thanks to another lucky freeze. Alakazam just sets up Future Sight and goes down in 2 turns. Somehow Growlithe is slower than us and goes down to a single Surf to win us a very lucky and very narrow victory. Now to wrap up Silphco in a neat little bow, we take on Giovanni, and Nidorino is the first out, and we have very little issue, only getting Poison Stung. Nidoqueen does body slam us, but we avoid Paralysis to take it out. Rhyhorn is an easy one-shot, and Kangaskhan can't do much, so we trade attacks, freeze it, then knock it out with Surf. Once again, this is an area I remember having to go to Cinnabar for with Ammonite, but with this we're actually beating the game in a normal order, so on to Sabrina. Sabrina will definitely outspeed us, but as long as our special holds up, we should be fine. We do actually outspeed Kadabra and one-shot it. Mr. Mime sets a barrier and does end up healing, but a critical hit takes it out. 2 Ice Beams deal with Venomoth, and Alakazam sets up Future Sight, allowing us to take it out without much problem as well. If her Pokemon would have just, attacked, we may have actually had to do 1 or more attempts, but oh well. With that out of the way, we can head to Cinnabar, and it's time to fight Blaine. Growlithe goes down to a single Surf, and when Arcanine comes out, we take it to red. It bites us, and we take it to red twice as Blaine continues to heal up before we do take it down. Ponyta goes down, and then last up is Rapidash, and we take it out as well for another easy victory. And if I had to guess, Giovanni is probably going to be pretty easy as well. Good news is, along the way, we do learn Ancient Power, and honestly, this was a crutch for last time, so naturally, we're definitely going to be taking it with us again. It is weird having to depend on Omni Boosts, but they are very nice to have. Giovanni starts out with Rhyhorn, and we take it out with a single Surf. The next Rhyhorn is out, and we also take it down with a single Surf. Dugtrio pops out, we surprisingly outspeed it and take it out. Nidoqueen goes down to a single hit, and Nidoking meets the same fate to win us the final badge. With that out of the way, it's time to fight the rival one last time before we make it to the Elite Four. Pidgeot first, and we use Ice Beam, taking it to yellow. Feather Dance wrecks our attack, and we finish it off with Ice Beam. Venusaur, I mean, are you surprised? Fun fact, even with the Omni Boost, because we tried this multiple times, we're still not able to take out Venusaur in one shot, but it can definitely take us out in one shot, even with the added special defense. It does take a few dozen attempts, but we do finally end up on an attempt where we take out Pidgeot and get to Venusaur with full health and end up freezing it. After it's frozen, we're able to finish it off and take down the Rhyhorn with a single Water Pulse. As Gyarados comes out, we use Ancient Power and get the Omni Boost before taking out the Growlithe in one shot. Alakazam goes down pretty quickly, and we finish it off not long after to win us the pre-Elite Four rival battle. So with all that out of the way, it's time to head to the Elite Four, and I gotta admit, the back half of the game is going far easier than I think it did for Ammonite. Thing is, it had so much trouble in the early game, I'm not sure which one I would want to play with going forward. Also, as the peek behind the veil for a challenge I'm currently working on at the time of this script, is trying to beat the Pokemon game with a full team of Pokemon. However, I have to use 6 random Pokemon selected by a friend, and I have to use the Pokemon moveset from a pre-generated Pokemon Stadium moveset. If one of the moves is no longer available between Red, Blue, Yellow, and FireRed, well, then I only have access to 3 moves rather than 4. It is absolutely painful, and honestly, I hope you guys love it. With Lorelei, I'm just gonna ignore the fact that we lost 13 times. With Dugong, we have to bank on an Omni Boost, and we thankfully get it and take it down the next turn. With Cloyster, we take it to red after it stalls Protect, and we take it out a few turns later and get another boost. When Slowbro comes out, we use our last Ancient Power and get another boost. With that, it lets us take out Lapras with a decent bit of health and one-shot Jinx to finally allow us to move on to Bruno. With Bruno, well, let's see what happens. We outspeed Onix and take it out in one shot with Surf. Bruno sends out a second Onix and we can take it out in one shot as well. Hitmonchan is out and we use Aerial Ace to take it to red, and Rock Tomb does a small chunk of damage and lowers our speed, but we still outspeed it and take it out. Hitmonlee hits us hard with Brick Break, heals up, and we take it out due to a crit, but then with Machamp we take it to about half and then get taken out. A few attempts later, both Onix are still a one-shot. Now, this time around, Hitmonchan doesn't touch us, so our speed and HP are untouched when he goes down. Hitmonlee also goes down in one shot. This time, when Machamp comes out, because we outspeed, we take it to yellow. It uses Scary Face and misses, then we take it down, allowing us to win the battle. Agatha, yeah, Agatha might be tricky given her Hypnosis lovers and, Curse. Curse is awful. Gengar goes to below half with Surf, double teams, and then goes down to another Surf. Golbat is an easy one-shot, and with Haunter we use Surf to take it to red. It misses, heals up, but then we do take it down 2 turns later. The last Gengar goes below yellow, puts us to sleep, uses Nightmare, but then we wake it up and take it out. Then with Arbok, we take it to yellow, it misses, we take it to red, it heals up, then 2 turns later it goes down thanks to a crit, allowing us to move on. Last up is Lance, and this is the only Elite Four member I actually feel somewhat confident in facing. We open up with a critical hit Ancient Power to take it out. Dragonair goes to red, then heals up, and we take it out with an Ancient Power and Ice Beam. The next Dragonair goes down easy. With Dragonite, we take it low with Ice Beam, it gets healed, and we take it out with an Ancient Power and Ice Beam, and then with Aerodactyl, we take it out with Surf. Final rival time. This challenge has gone by quite quickly. Pidgeot is first, and we open up with a couple Ancient Powers before taking it out. Rhydon goes down to Surf, and with Venusaur, it begins trying to use Solar Beam, and we can't do enough damage to take it out, but this is actually easy enough to work with. It only takes a few attempts before we get the Omni Boost and take Venusaur to red as it soars up energy, and then take it out. With Rhydon, it goes down in one hit, Gyarados goes down to a few Ancient Powers, and then finally Arcanine is a one-shot hit with Surf to win us the challenge. With this challenge, I'll be honest, it was a bit easier than it was with Ammonite once we got past the beginning of the game. Ammonite having early access to a move like Bite was a game saver for a bit, but in this it just seemed easier, I think mostly due to the fact that the Elite Four wasn't a dozen different attempts. But anyway, I do have some more runs planned and I hope you're enjoying them. I do have jury duty coming up in July, so runs might be slightly delayed. I know that by the time this goes out, we'll probably be past that, but just so you're aware. But as always though, if you liked the video, even if you didn't like the video, think about hitting the like and subscribe button, because it really does help me out. And until next time, everybody, peace out.